I'm your host, Madrina, and welcome to Rolling with Madrina. I'm a community service organizer, motivational speaker, and an advocate for the people. I am living proof that your struggle can be your story and your trauma can be your triumph. I've dedicated my life to giving back, and I want you to roll with me while I speak with those in our community who are doing what they do best. Now watch and listen for what you can do to join their cause. Aloha, and thank you for watching Rolling with Madrina. I'm Madrina, and I've got something new here. If you notice, the colors are changed in the background. I've got a brand new set. Hopefully the photographer can scan out and show you our set. Oop, oop, there it goes. And it's gonna fluctuate in between beautiful scenery from my home, Oahu, Honolulu, Oahu, and also some of our logo, Rolling with Madrina, will pop up also. So that is a new backdrop that we're debuting on 2024. And with our guest, Jason Boatwright, he gets to be the first one in studio with our new backdrop. But let me tell you a little bit about Jason before he speaks. He was highly recommended to me by several people in the community that says you really need to meet this dude. He is just a person with a journey of his own where he was in the military, couldn't finish his obligation in the military, suffered some major medical setbacks, and was generally and honorably discharged, and was trying to tap into some VA benefits to get the help that he needed. And as you can imagine, it was quite the journey for him. It took him 3 years in total to get some VA disability and benefits for that. And he's just going to tell us a little bit about his background as a military person and his journey after the military, what he's done with Veterans Affairs, and all the things that he can do to provide guidance on helping other veterans tap into the benefits that are already theirs. But due to so much sticky red tape and so much work, it makes it hard for the average person to traverse through this journey. So I call Jason a concerned citizen in the community who just set out to help others. So he's actually here representing himself. He did work for the Department of Federal Affairs, and he has some experience. So Jason, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you.
Tell everyone how old you were when you joined the military, and give us a little bit of your military background.
Well, I graduated from Tate High School in 2003, and at that time, you know, our country was in dire needs after 9/11, and everybody was joining. So it was a determination between the Navy and the Air Force, but I ended up joining the Air Force. I wanted to be a cop. I still think that cops are very, very respected individuals, and at that time we held our firemen and our policemen very, very high after everything that went through in 9/11.
Absolutely, we all did, and I still do. We do. The whole defund the police was not. I was not a fan of that.
Right.
I respect our law enforcement for sure.
So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a security officer in the Air Force, and my goal was to come out and be a state trooper in Florida. That's what I really wanted to do.
Okay, and then what happened?
Well, during my time as there, when I was a security forces training at Lackland Air Force Base, I noticed that my eyesight was real. I started having a haloing and shadowing over everything that I saw. At times, 3s looked like 8s, H's looked like I's, T's looked like some. I mean, everything was getting bad, and they diagnosed me with keratoconus, and that is disqualifying in the military. So I got.
Was that just a genetic disorder, or was that due to chemical exposure, or anything?
No one really knows. I mean, no one really knows. I didn't have it going in. At time, it just slowly started getting, my eyesight just slowly got it worse. And what keratoconus is it affects the outside of your eye, the cornea. It thins the cornea to where it cannot support the eye, and then it bulges out and just makes light just go everywhere.
So then you were discharged from the military because of that?
Yep, came home, and the VA at that time was off Kenmore Avenue off of 29. And when I got home, they told me that they couldn't help me because I did not complete my first contract, which was 6 years. So they said that I was not considered a veteran, and
But you were discharged due to medical reasons?
Yes.
So that does make you a vet, correct?
Well, you would think.
Okay.
I mean, I thought that. I mean, no one really tells you that when you got out. It's kind of like, you know, what me and John Hills with the Marine Corps League and Pastor Tim Chandler always say. It's like they teach you to put on the uniform, but they never teach you how to take it off.
Right, yeah.
And so that was one thing. It's like, you know,
Wow.
they tell you all this
Wow.
stuff, and then when you get here, it's like, sorry.
Yeah. And so then you were discharged because of your eyesight, and then when you went to the VA clinic to get help, what happened?
They couldn't help me.
So because you're not considered a VA, I mean a vet?
No, they really never told me the reason. They just told me the main reason was that because I did not complete my term, which was 6 years, it was what I signed up for, that they could not help me.
And was that true, or was that just a confused individual?
You know, at that time, I don't know, because when they told me that is when I got upset and I just came home and I threw everything away.
What do you mean you threw everything away?
I threw my uniforms away, I threw the medal I got, I threw the flag that they gave me, I threw it all away.
Wow. Now that's saying something.
I just couldn't. I mean,
You
it's
lost
just like
all faith.
I didn't really have any faith at that time. I was like, you know, I wanted to go to college, couldn't tap into the GI Bill because I did not have the minimum requirement, which I understood.
Mm-hmm.
I got that. The biggest thing that I wanted was some type of medical help, because they told me that as the eyesight deteriorated, that it will eventually get worse. I mean, there was one year I went to the eyeglass world off Davis Highway, and my prescription my eyeglasses jumped 3 prescriptions within 1 year.
Wow.
And that's when I knew it was getting worse.
Yes.
I mean, I jumped from job to job to job to job. I couldn't really do anything because you kind of need
You're
your
so
eyesight
limited,
to really do
right.
something. Yeah, I went through hard contact lenses. I went through soft contact lenses, under hard contact lenses. I went through scleral lenses. I went through everything to the point to where I couldn't wear glasses anymore. Now I had to have something in my eye push the cornea back in.
Wow. And so after you went home and you were angry and threw your uniform away.
Yeah, which I kind of regret now, because I really wish I had all that stuff, but
because you were so without hope.
well, I kept going back to the VA on Kenmore Avenue, like, well, here, I have this document, this is what it says. I have this document, this is what it says. I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry. Until finally they asked me to leave.
And who helps you with that? You go to the hospital, you go to the VA clinic, and there's a line that says, I need help, or what you have to have a referral?
There was a state representative, and forgive me, I can't remember if the Florida Department of Veterans, which I think the Florida Department of Veterans Affairs was at that time, but they weren't VA employees, they were actually state employees that actually helped veterans tap into it. And they had a little office there when you first enter the, it's funny, I still remember it. You enter the Kenmore to the right, and there would always be like 50,000 people in there.
Wow.
I would wait for 2 or 3 hours in there. I had my grandparents take me so many times. But yeah, that was, I will never forget him saying, when I would get a letter in the mail from the VA, I'd be like, hey, I got this letter. You shouldn't be getting that. I'll never forget him telling me that. You shouldn't be getting that because you're not considered a veteran. You didn't complete your first term.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so, from the time that you were right out of high school, joined the military, served about 1.5 years, no more than 2 years, had to get out discharged because it was your eyesight failing you. Try to get VA benefits for help for your eyesight. No, you're not a vet. We can't help you.
No.
How long did you try to get help or get deemed disabled?
What, try to get
or
help?
to have a disability, or get whatever it takes from the military to say, yep, we can help him.
How many times did I have?
How many years? How long? How many times?
Well, I can tell you about when I hit 24, 25 is when I just said, this isn't going anywhere. I'm going to have to do something
Several
else.
years. I'm hearing 3, 4, 5 years in this journey.
Yeah. When I hit 24, 25 was when I just kind of was like, well, obviously this is just a waste of my time. I'm not even going to do anything anymore. And so at that point, I realized the only way that I can really do anything in this world or in this life is if I go and get a formal education. So I enrolled at Pensacola State. I wanted social work because I wanted to help others. So I started that. And then right about when I went from Pensacola State to UWF, And I was in like 1 year of UWF was when my eyesight really, really got bad. It got really, really bad. And I was asking everybody for help. I would go to my dining room table and I would have those shop lights shining down. I had 2 of them on either side of me shining down just so I could read the books, because I couldn't, with keratoconus, is too much light blinds you, too less light you can't see. So at that point is when I started doing the schoolwork and all that, is when I realized I can't do this anymore. I can't live like this. If this is what life is going to be like, I don't want it. And so that's when I called my mom and I told her I don't want to do this anymore. And then that's when my parents really started jumping in to help.
And all the while you were trying to get medical help, or at some point did you just back off and say, forget it, it's not worth it?
Well, I was paying out of pocket for a while for Dr. Murray over at the Eye Institute, because I didn't have insurance. I mean, I was paying out of pocket for a while, and it wasn't until I actually got on the Affordable Care Act and actually got that it really started to help me.
Yeah. We have to take a little short break coming up soon, but before we do, I want to let people know that this is not something that you've set out to do because an organization pays you. You were literally an American citizen experiencing something that probably thousands, hundreds, if not thousands of military veterans are experiencing. And I'm a military brat. My father has served 25 years or more in the Navy. And I know his own experiences. And then, of course, we're in a military town now. I've heard story after story. And I just don't understand why it's so hard for us to pay back the individuals that sign up to be in the military and lay their life down to protect us. And it's very, very disheartening, but thank God there's individuals like you out there that will help people to traverse through this. And when we come back from a short break, you're going to hear what he did to finally get benefits and ways that he can help you. We'll get his phone number up on the screen, and that way you can reach out to Jason and ask any questions that you may have. We'll be right back.
Do you want to create but don't know where to start? Our new fabric line will inspire you. If you can dream it, we can help you make it. From using kits that include everything you would need, to taking classes to create something more personalized, Daryl's is the place for you. No matter if you're just beginning or experienced, Daryl's has you covered. Find us at 6705 North Davis Highway, open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays.
Hi, I'm Madrina. Be a mover and shaker in our community by helping others overcome problems ranging from health to substance abuse, from personal safety to neighborhood issues, from taking care of your kids to taking care of your parents. Come on our show and tell people how you did it. Be a community hero and watch Rolling with Madrina, Thursday nights at 8:30, only on Blab TV.
Celebrating its 20th anniversary, Impact 100 is a women's philanthropic group dedicated to awarding transformative grants in the Pensacola Bay area. These grants are in the areas of arts, culture and history, education, environment and recreation, family, and health and wellness. 100% of the membership funds go to making a difference in our community. All women 18 and older are encouraged to join us at an upcoming membership event. Deadline to join is Friday, March 1st. For details, visit impact100pensacola.org.
What do an aerospace engineer, cancer immunologist, and bat scientist all have in common? We all have cool jobs in STEM fields. Whether it's building robots or learning to code, girls everywhere are finding their passion for science, technology, engineering, and math through positive role models and mentors. So dare to dive in, get connected, and explore. You never know what your future may hold. Learn more about these and even more cool jobs at SheCanSTEM.com.
Welcome back to Rolling with Madrina, where we have with us in studio today at Blab TV, Jason Boatwright, former military and has he probably wouldn't call himself, but I would say he's an expert on VA benefits and how to tap into that. And he's only an expert because he set out to do it on his own. He couldn't get any help with the VA and anyone on board there that could help him, and he just kept getting denied, and he was losing his eyesight and really needed help and had to figure out on his own through, like the way I do it, Google and YouTube, and spent more than a year trying to figure out all this bureaucratic red tape, and finally got some help. So that's kind of the short elevator speech of it all,
Yeah, that's
Jason.
about the short elevator of it.
But tell us a little bit. So we went into your background and what happened and how you were denied and how you lost hope and how you were angry. And so where are we now? What happened since that?
Well, since that, I mean, I learned on my own as my eyesight was getting bad. And, you know, the real thing about it is you watch like Wheel of Fortune, you have see like their honor military week, you know, or something like that. And it would just always get me every time I see it. It's kind of like, how do they get help and I don't?
Yeah.
Like, how do they do it and not me? Like, what makes me different than them?
Right.
And so that's what I did is just one day it just hit me and I just got on Google and I was like, the easiest way to get VA benefits.
I was going to ask you, what did you search?
Yeah, the easiest way to get VA benefits, what do you have to do, easiest steps to do anything, and then that's how I did it, is I just learned on my own. Is I just started just from the top and then worked my way down. And then as it slowly came in, like I will never forget the first one I got, which was ringing in the ear. When I got that, and you get that thing 10%, you see the deposit in your bank account, you're like, oh my gosh, it's really happening.
And then that opens up a door.
It opened
to
up
other
a door because
opportunities?
because I'll never forget going down to the clinic and I was like, I'm here to get my ID card, and they scanned it and they go like, we're here to sign up for primary care doctor. I go, are you serious? So I got my primary care doctor.
Totally unlocked everything, opened the door, and off you were going.
It did because I needed eye drops. There was the special type of eye drops I needed that were like $1,400 for these eye drops.
That's crazy.
And then I got them in the mail. I got them. And then that's when it really, really started happening.
Because I'm ignorant to the process, but it's not enough for you to have been in the military, be discharged with the condition.
Yeah.
But then to tap into the medical benefits, you have to then prove that to get any sort of help?
No, because when you actually are a service-connected veteran at 10%, then you automatically get health care through the VA. And then I knew that when you got health care through the VA, your prescription drugs are taken care of for the rest of your life. And that was what really got me, is I needed certain type of cyclosporine eye drops for my eyes.
And then you got it.
And I got it.
And so since then, so you're like, whoa, I've opened up the door. This is how I've done it. I've done it on my own. And now I have a message to share with others.
Right. And that's what I wanted to do, is when I got my degree in social work, and the transplant was the biggest thing, you know, because I had the transplant. I had the transplant before I actually got the VA benefits, which is crazy.
You paid for that on your own?
No, I actually, when Barack Obama did the Affordable Care Act, I filed for that because I couldn't find a job for anything. Nobody was going to hire me. And then, you know, I'm sad to say I lied about so many things because I was a delivery driver at Butler Auto Recycling one time, and I didn't tell him I couldn't see.
Oh, wow.
But I had to do what I had to do because he paid very well.
And you had to support your family.
And I had to support my family.
I'm still mesmerized on how you could actually drive.
Well, I'm blessed with good memory. And I know this area because I grew up here my whole life, and I knew which ways to go, and I knew where every traffic light was. I knew certain things, and I tried to stay out from behind the wheel as much as I could. But I would get up early in the morning. I would get up like an hour and a half early and just before the sun, because if that morning sun come up, I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see anything. There was many, many times I pulled off on the side of the road. I
tell you what, you've had some perseverance. You definitely have perseverance. And I mean, to say that you would work job after job and get, most people have a struggle just to get a job.
Right.
With eyesight and all abilities. And you would
well,
go.
I'm not ashamed to say that I have had the Social Security office mail me the disability forms, but I just couldn't do it. Because it's like, because in my eyesight, when you get on, in my eyesight, excuse me, in my mind, when you're on Social Security, that's the end. Like, what's there after that? And I'm like, I'm only 26 years old, you know? Like,
so then what do vets watching today who, I mean, we've talked off camera, we've had vets that have served in the Korean War, never tapped into benefits that you've met. Like, what is your message today to those that are watching, that are veterans, who might need services and just are so dumbfounded by the process, they just throw their hands in the air? Speak to them, and what would you say to vets watching today?
If I were to say to anybody about, you know, one, never give up. Just never give up. If I had given up, I don't know where I would be. I mean, my left eye's from an 18-year-old, my right eye's from a 22-year-old. You know, and I got to do things that I'm forever grateful every single day. And I try to tell my children that and everybody that. It's like, if you've ever think you've ever gone through anything, I've been there right with you. Don't ever think that you've ever been through anything, because I've been there too. Yeah. But I would tell every single veteran that would ever call and I would ever meet, I'd be like, how long did you serve? Oh, I served 6 months. Did you try? Did you even show up? Did you ask? This is what you have. I would always tell them, just come on down here. Just come on down to the VA. I'll talk with you. I'll connect you with somebody, and we can get the ball rolling, and we can help you, because those are your benefits. You earn those benefits when you sign that paper to join. And that's what I would tell everybody all the time.
Why do you think that it's so arduous? Why do you think the system's so complex, so inefficient?
I've asked myself that all the time. And the one thing that I can always come up with is every single time we get a new administration, things change. And they change, you know, they change this, they change that. We have laws that protect us from other laws. So we have laws that are written, you know, to modify another law. And after a while, after 10, 20, 30 years, it loses its original message. And that always bothers me. It really, really always bothers me. It's like the mission is never really what it was originally set up to be, because it always changed to somebody else's agenda.
Right, agenda.
And I don't like that. And I've witnessed that so many times with party platforms and agendas and stuff, to where if you remove yourself from that equation and put yourself in the veteran's position, you'll be okay. And that's what I tell everybody. Is even when I was with Congressman Matt Gaetz and when I was with the VA right now, is that I will always side with the veteran. I don't care what the hell the law is. I will always side with the veteran.
Thank you.
And I have many, many times, and I will never stop doing that. And I will tell everybody that ever comes and talks to me. If you ever feel like you cannot get caregiver support, if you ever feel like you cannot get into the Women Veterans Program, I can help you. And I know someone who can.
Are there some misconceptions that you can bust today? You know, people, is there one thing you always hear and you're like, no, that's not true, actually?
That's a tough one right
there.
That's a tough question.
I'm glad that there isn't anything like that. I didn't know if you were constantly hearing something that you're like, no, I have a solution for that and I can help you.
Well, there's always one solution that me and, you know, a few of the other local veteran organizations around here do, especially with the, you know, the Marine Corps League and the Navy League and all of them that we talk about. It's like, if there's ever a veteran that's ever had a difficulty getting VA disability, 9 times out of 10, they have been around loud noise at least one time or another, whether it be airplane engines, artillery, or something, that you got a 96% chance of getting tinnitus, ringing in the ear, if you file that. And I would tell everybody all the time, just file it.
Ringing in the ear.
Ringing in the ear.
That's what you got.
You got a 96% chance, and that 10% right there will unlock the world for them with the VA.
But what is your mission? You've allowed us to put your personal phone number up on the screen here tonight. You've inviting vets to call you. What should they expect? They're going to pick up. You're going to pick up the phone and say, "Hi, this is Jason," and I'm going to say, "I'm a vet who needs help on the other end." Then what happens?
I'm just going to listen. That's the biggest thing. You know, 2 ears, one mouth. And that's always what I've been doing, as I would listen to them. And generally, I can hear the message without them really even saying it. I've always been very good at that.
So you take them to the clinic, or you just give them
the
some
first
advice?
The first thing I would do is I would invite them to the clinic. Alpha section, that's enrollment. That's the first window when you enter the clinic, enrollment. And I would always tell people, stop by enrollment. You'd probably be surprised what you'll find out that you can get.
Brother, you've got a big announcement that you would like to reveal here on Rolling with Madrina that's not yet been announced, and you've got something coming up in just a couple of months.
Yeah, I'm sure that a majority of the people out there have probably been to our August 4th event that we had at the VA clinic, and that, God, we must have had 1,300 people show up that day.
Does that show you a need? Were y'all surprised by that showing?
We have 34,000 veterans that live in our area, that are enrolled in our Pensacola clinic. 34,000. That's just people that are enrolled. That's not saying anybody else who's ever served who never goes to the VA.
And what happened with those 12 to 1,500 that showed up?
The biggest thing that they came is and I would tell everybody this, if you've ever gotten that paper from the VA that says you were denied a claim, this was the day to come and ask somebody and get an answer. We enrolled
so you've got
people
that coming
day.
up April the 6th, and what does that look like? Where's it at? Who can come?
Anybody who's enrolled in the VA, or anybody that has anyone who's a veteran, or anybody who has a family member that's a veteran, a cousin, an aunt, anybody.
Why do the cousin and the aunt come? They can tap into the benefits, or to get it for the vet?
Well, if you got a cousin or an aunt who's a veteran, or or
to help them.
To help them, yeah, just bring them on.
Yeah,
bring them on. We will have enrollment there to get you enrolled. We'll have toxic exposure screening if they've ever been around burn pits, Agent Orange, anything like that. If they ever feel like they were something, they can get an answer. And that's really what I want them to do. Is they didn't have that when I needed it.
Yeah, you told me some stories off camera about some of the old guys that never have tapped into benefits.
No.
And now in their old age, they're needing it, and they're going through the process you're going through.
I mean, we can't turn back the clock. And that's what I see with so many veterans is like, do you do it now because, I don't ever want to feel like you don't need to go to a retirement home or something, but you will have that benefit there if you need it.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing is it's like, I would love to say that we'll be young forever, but eventually there's going to come a time when you'll need something, and I want them to have that.
We're inside of a minute. How do they find out about this? Other than April the 6th, is there a Facebook page or a website?
We have our VA Gulf Coast Veteran Healthcare Facebook page. We will be posting announcements on there. They can always email me if they have any questions, or if anybody, if there's any veteran organization that would like to come and be a participant.
Okay.
I welcome them.
Beautiful. And look for him there on that day. We've got his phone number up on the screen. We've got his direct email up on the screen. He's inviting you now to come on April the 6th and help yourself get help. But thank you so much for coming, Jason, and thank you for the work that you do to help our American citizens that serve our country. And thank you for rolling with Madrina.
No, thank you much.
All right. We'll be back. Thank you.